Beloved chosen one, heaven has paused everything around you to deliver this message. You are not hearing these words by chance. This is divine timing. Something has shifted in your atmosphere. A spiritual awakening has begun. And though the world cannot see it, your spirit has already crossed a threshold. You have carried the weight of silence for years, misunderstood and unseen. Yet heaven saw every moment. You have been hidden, not forgotten, refined, not rejected. There is a stirring deep within you, a whisper that keeps saying, "They will see soon." The truth that has been locked behind closed hearts is about to break free. A member of your own family, the one who once dismissed your faith, now feels the tremor of your divine awakening. They may not yet understand it, but something in you has changed. The light within you cannot be denied any longer. You've walked through rooms where your name was discussed without love. You've smiled through dinners where your silence spoke louder than your words. You've endured the quiet rejection that comes when those closest to you cannot comprehend your spiritual fire. Yet through it all, you never turned cold. That's why heaven calls you chosen. You did not let bitterness bury your purpose. Listen closely, this is not just emotion, it's prophecy unfolding. You are the evidence of what happens when divine favor rests on a human soul. Every time you chose prayer over anger, you broke another invisible chain. Every time you forgave without apology, the heavens rejoiced. You have been walking through a personal Gethsemane, but the light of resurrection is rising. There's a holy awareness beginning to fall upon your household. You may not have said a word, yet the energy around you speaks volumes. They can feel your peace. They can sense your strength. And one of them, yes, one dear to you, has seen what the others ignored. The scales are falling from their eyes. They know now that there is something divine about your endurance. The family member who once doubted you has begun to weep. They do not yet have the words to describe it, but heaven is touching their heart. They feel conviction and confusion intertwined, for they are remembering every time they mocked, misunderstood, or dismissed the grace upon your life. And now they see the very one they overlooked carries the mantle of restoration for the whole family. Chosen one, don't let pride rise. Let compassion speak. This revelation is not for revenge but redemption. The Spirit is moving through your family line, and the truth that was hidden is being exposed in light. The pain, the distance, the spiritual blindness, it's all being confronted. You are not the victim of your bloodline. You are the repairer of the breach. Heaven wants you to hear this clearly. Do not run from this moment. Do not silence your heart to protect their comfort. You are not here to fit in. You are here to awaken. This is the beginning of the unveiling, when those who once dismissed your faith begin to realize they were standing next to a living testimony. You will not need to prove anything. Your peace will preach louder than your words. Your presence alone will convict and comfort at the same time. This is how divine truth reveals itself, not in argument, but in undeniable evidence of transformation. The glow on your face, the strength in your voice, the calm in your spirit. These are all sermons written by heaven. And when that family member finally says, "Now I see it," tears will flow, not because of guilt, but because of grace. For this is not the moment of judgment, it is the moment of revelation. God is using your endurance as the canvas upon which His mercy is painted. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden." Beloved, that is you, the light that cannot be hidden anymore. The time of concealment has ended. Heaven is placing your identity in plain sight, not for your glory, but for His purpose. So hear this call if this message stirs your spirit. It is because heaven is confirming your season. Comment 777 below as a prophetic act of agreement. Do not scroll away, type it as your public declaration that you received this revelation. Then, like this message, share it with another chosen one who has been walking unseen, and subscribe so that you never miss another word sent for your spirit. You are part of a movement of light bearers rising in the quiet corners of this earth. This is your moment, chosen one. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are awakening. And heaven is rejoicing because someone close to you is finally beginning to see what God has seen in you all along. The atmosphere around you has changed. Chosen one. You can sense it in the silence, in the way familiar eyes linger a little longer, as if searching for something they can no longer deny. Whispers drift through the rooms of your home, soft and cautious. They are talking about you not in mockery now, but in awe, confusion, and quiet wonder. The truth that has slept for years is waking, and it is unsettling the comfortable. You are not imagining it. The spiritual realm has shifted. Where once your words were dismissed, they now echo. The same walls that used to contain your cries are now witnesses to divine revelation. Someone, one of your own, has begun to feel the tremor of heaven through your presence. It's as if the light within you has become too radiant to be ignored. You've noticed it in small ways, the subtle respect in their tone, the cautious questions about your peace, the way their anger falters when they meet your calm. They sense something greater walking with you, something they can't quite explain. They don't know it yet, but they're brushing against the presence of God that dwells within you. This is the beginning of recognition, when heaven chooses to reveal who you are. No amount of gossip or denial can hide it. You may have spent years trying to be quiet, to blend in, to love them without forcing them to understand. But now, without a word, the Spirit is speaking through you. Every movement, every act of grace, every moment of restraint has become a sermon. And they are listening. There is one, perhaps a sibling, perhaps a parent whose conscience is being stirred. They can no longer look at you without feeling something divine pressing against their heart. They remember the years when you cried, when you prayed alone, when they dismissed your tears as weakness. But now, they see that what you carried was not pain alone, it was purpose. You were being refined in the shadows so that light could be born through your endurance. Chosen one. This is what revelation looks like. It's not always loud. Sometimes it comes as silence that exposes hearts, as glances filled with questions, as memories that suddenly make sense. You were never meant to prove your worth through argument. God Himself is revealing it through undeniable evidence. Do not grow bitter toward those who whispered about you. They did not know what they were speaking against. The enemy used misunderstanding as a veil to hide the sacred calling on your life. But the time for unveiling has come. Your glow, your peace, your wisdom, they are all beginning to break through their walls. And soon, the truth will reach even those who tried hardest not to see. You must understand something profound. Spiritual light does not need defense. It only needs to shine. The darkness naturally reveals itself in its presence. Your patience has been your greatest sermon, your kindness, your most powerful weapon. Every time you loved without return, every time you held your peace instead of retaliating, you were planting the seeds of revelation now blooming before their eyes. Now they talk quietly among themselves, wondering what changed in you. They think it's luck, or coincidence, or maturity, but you know it's divine. The Spirit of God has marked you. Heaven has turned you into a living message. And though your family cannot yet articulate it, their souls are beginning to recognize the holy fragrance of grace surrounding you. Even now, The whispers are shifting. What was once mockery has become curiosity. What was once gossip is becoming reverence. They no longer speak to pull you down, but to understand how you stood so long under pressure. It is not your words, but your transformation that preaches to them. Do not rush this process. Revelation unfolds like dawn, slow, gentle, unstoppable. The one who sees you now will speak in time. Tears will come later, understanding even later, but recognition has begun. Let your silence be guided, your patience be holy, your love remain unconditional. Because, beloved, this is how God reveals His chosen ones, not through power displays or loud declarations, but through the quiet radiance of a changed life. You have become the mirror through which heaven reflects its truth. And when that reflection becomes too bright to ignore, even the hardest hearts begin to soften. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 33 at verse 3. Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. That is what is happening now, answers unfolding in real time. They are beginning to see what you have known in secret, that you are not just different. You are divine in purpose. The mystery of your endurance is being unveiled. Hold steady. Chosen one, do not explain yourself. Let heaven finish what it started. The whispers that began behind closed doors are only the beginning of recognition. Soon, what was hidden will be declared, and every eye that doubted will see that you were not lost. You were anointed in silence. Chosen one, the moment has arrived. The eyes that once looked through you now look at you. The shift that began as a whisper has turned into undeniable awareness. There is one, perhaps the one who wounded you the most, who now sees what they were blind to before. You can feel the tension in the air, a sacred heaviness, as if heaven itself is leaning closer to witness the moment of unveiling. For years, they saw only your mistakes, never your mission. They mocked the tears you cried behind closed doors, thinking you were weak. But now, those same tears are the proof of your purity. They can no longer deny the peace that follows you, the glow in your eyes, the way you walk with quiet authority. They sense something divine, and it terrifies and humbles them all at once. This is what revelation looks like. It exposes both glory and guilt. They remember every word they spoke against you, every time they refused to listen. And now, conviction pierces their heart like light through a shuttered window. They are beginning to understand you were never just emotional. You were prophetic. You weren't dramatic, you were discerning. You weren't distant, you were being set apart. Chosen one, don't gloat. Heaven doesn't reveal truth to humiliate others, it reveals to heal. Your victory is not for revenge, but redemption. Their eyes are opening because it is time. For years, you prayed for this without realizing what it would cost. The unveiling comes wrapped in both beauty and burden. You must carry it with humility. There will be a moment, a glance across the room, a trembling apology, or even a quiet silence when you'll realize they finally see. It might not be spoken aloud, but you will feel it in your spirit. Something will break, not in anger, but in awe. The same person who doubted your faith will now see the mark of heaven resting on you. You might wonder why they're crying. It's because revelation always demands repentance. The truth they see in you mirrors the truth they've been avoiding in themselves. They thought you changed because of time. They didn't realize you were transformed by encounter. And now, standing before you, they see it, the undeniable evidence that you were chosen all along. Do not rush to speak. Your silence carries more authority than any defense ever could. Sometimes, a single tear running down your cheek says what 1,000 words cannot. Let them feel the weight of what heaven has shown them. You are not here to prove a point. You are here to demonstrate grace. Every spiritual unveiling carries a holy trembling. It is the moment when denial melts and truth stands naked. The person before you is not your enemy. They are the reflection of your old wounds being healed. Forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because freedom demands it. You cannot step into your next level while holding yesterday's pain. Chosen one, this is divine justice, not vengeance, but balance. Heaven is showing them what you've always known, that your calling was real, your faith was not foolish, and your tears were not wasted. Every silent night of prayer is now echoing through their spirit. The one who once ignored your cries now cries because they ignored you. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 18 remind us, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. That glory is now revealing itself through you. This is why they stare longer, why their voice softens when they speak your name. They are not just seeing you. They are seeing the God who sustained you. Every storm, every rejection, every heartbreak has become a sermon they can no longer ignore. And you, chosen one, must walk carefully now. Do not let pride spoil the purity of this moment. Let compassion rule your response. The same spirit that revealed you will also restore them in time. You are not just being seen, you are being sent. Your transformation is not just for your healing, it's for theirs too. In this moment, heaven calls you to respond not with words, but with a prophetic act of humility. Comment "I forgive you" below. Type it not for attention, but as a declaration of release. When you write it, you're not typing to a screen, you're writing it into the spirit. It means I choose freedom over offense. I choose peace over pride. I choose destiny over pain. Because when you forgive, you take the final weapon out of the enemy's hand. The curse of misunderstanding breaks when grace is spoken, and healing flows where bitterness once lived. They will continue to watch you, chosen one. Some will come closer, others will stay silent, but none will remain unchanged. The truth about you has been revealed, and nothing can conceal it again. The tears falling in your home right now are not tears of despair, they are tears of awakening. Heaven is moving, hearts are softening, and the revelation of who you are is becoming undeniable. You were never forgotten. You were never foolish. You were hidden until it was time to be seen. Now that the moment has come, let love finish what truth has started. The air feels heavy with holiness. Chosen one. Something sacred is unfolding that words can hardly describe. The truth that once hid in shadows has now stepped fully into light, and with it comes a trembling unlike any you've ever felt. This is the pain of recognition. The one who has finally seen your divine identity does not rejoice at first, they weep, because revelation is not always gentle. When the veil is torn from their eyes, it exposes not only who you are, but who they were when they denied you. You can sense the storm within them. Their silence speaks of regret. Their tears tell the story of conviction. They remember every moment they called you strange, every time they rolled their eyes at your prayers, every cruel word they spoke when you chose solitude over gossip. They are now standing in the presence of the very light they once mocked, and it burns not to destroy, but to cleanse. There is something holy about this pain. It is not punishment, but purification. The revelation of truth often wounds before it heals, for it demands the death of pride and the birth of humility. The person who once thought they understood you now realizes how much they never saw. They are grieving their blindness, not your brilliance. And you, chosen one, must hold your peace in this sacred hour. Do not gloat. Do not remind them of the past. This is not the time to speak, I told you so. Let mercy guide your eyes. You are witnessing a divine operation, God Himself performing heart surgery before your eyes. Every tear they shed is a confession. Every trembling breath is a step toward repentance. The same spirit that sustained you through rejection is now awakening them through revelation. You may feel compassion rise alongside old pain. Let both coexist for a moment, but do not allow the past to dictate your response. What you are seeing is not weakness, it's transformation. The same God who allowed you to be misunderstood is now allowing them to see clearly. This is divine justice in its most graceful form. They will remember the nights you prayed when everyone else slept. They will recall how peace followed you even when storms surrounded your life. They will finally understand that you were never trying to be better than them. You were just trying to be faithful to what was burning inside you. And now, that understanding pierces them with both awe and sorrow. Tears fall freely now, not the tears of manipulation or self-pity, but the kind that come when the soul meets truth face to face. It's as if the veil between heaven and earth has thinned, and your family member stands caught between regret and revelation. Their tears are washing away the lies they once believed about you. Do not interfere with this sacred breaking. Stand still and let the Spirit do His work. You do not need to console them yet. This is their moment with God. What they feel right now is holy conviction. The divine light that exposed your truth is now exposing their blindness. And though it hurts, it is good. This is what redemption feels like in its earliest stage: pain before peace, breaking before blessing. Chosen one, you are witnessing prophecy fulfilled. For the same Spirit that raised you from despair is now awakening those who once walked past your pain. What they see in you now is proof of divine transformation. They can no longer dismiss your peace as coincidence or your strength as personality. They know now that it was supernatural all along. You will not need to speak many words. The Spirit will translate your silence into language they can understand. Your calmness in this moment will preach louder than any sermon. Because when love remains steady in the face of revelation, it becomes irresistible. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And so it is with you. This is the night of weeping, the necessary night where truth and pain meet. But morning is coming. The same tears that now fall in sorrow will soon flow in reconciliation. The same voice that trembles now will one day speak blessing over your life. The same hands that once pointed in accusation will one day reach out in gratitude. Let this night of tears be sacred. Do not rush it. Allow heaven's timing to unfold. You are not just witnessing emotion, you are witnessing redemption being born in real time. The pain of recognition is the proof of awakening. And after the breaking comes the rebuilding. Stand still, chosen one. You do not need to fix what heaven is already healing. The same light that once isolated you is now illuminating them. Let the tears flow. They are watering the soil where reconciliation will soon bloom. This is holy ground. Walk gently and let love finish what truth began. Chosen one. The confrontation you feared has finally come, not a battle of shouting or pride, but of spirit and truth. You can feel it rising in the atmosphere, an invisible tension between heaven and history, between who you were and who you've become. This is the spiritual confrontation, and though it feels like chaos, it is sacred. Old wounds stir as your light collides with their denial. The air thickens with memories, words once spoken in anger, moments when love turned cold, nights when silence echoed louder than forgiveness. But this time you stand differently. You no longer fight with flesh and emotion. You stand clothed in peace. You have learned that stillness can be sharper than swords. It's strange, isn't it? The same people who doubted your faith now feel uneasy in your presence, not because you condemn them, but because your peace convicts them. They sense power that cannot be explained. They feel heaven's weight resting on your words, even when you say nothing at all. And so, resistance rises not from hatred, but from fear. Do not mistake this spiritual tension for failure. It is evidence that truth has entered the room. The darkness always trembles before dawn. Your calmness irritates the enemy because it reveals who truly holds authority. You have become a mirror. Your peace reflects their unrest, and that mirror is forcing them to confront the parts of themselves they tried to hide. There will be moments when voices are raised, when old accusations resurface. Do not respond from pain. Remember who you are. The enemy seeks to bait you into reaction, but heaven calls you to respond with revelation. Every time you stay silent, the fire in your spirit grows stronger. Every time you choose love over defense, and your anointing deepens. The Word of God declares in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This is not a family argument, it's a spiritual battle wrapped in familiar faces. The enemy is desperate because he knows his influence over your bloodline is breaking. He uses emotion as a weapon, hoping to drag you into old patterns of anger and resentment. But you, chosen one, are different now. You fight differently. Your silence is strategic. Your prayers are precise. Your forgiveness is warfare. In this confrontation, heaven is testing your readiness. Can you love those who wounded you? Can you extend grace while standing firm? Can you let God defend you without needing to explain yourself? The true warrior is not the one who swings the sword. It's the one who can sheath it when peace demands it. And even as the storm rises, there is a whisper of destiny beneath it. This shaking is not to destroy, but to expose. Every storm has purpose. It clears the air, uproots what's dead, and prepares the soil for new life. That's what this confrontation is doing, making room for restoration. Your endurance in this season is like a candle in the wind. It flickers, but it doesn't die. It lights the way for those still stumbling in the dark. Remember this: when the voices get loud, you are not here to win arguments. You are here to illuminate hearts. You are the proof that love can survive misunderstanding. And lead them. Beloved, as you stand in this moment, let me remind you, your light deserves to shine beyond this room. When you feel led, let your story reach others who need to hear it. Your testimony is a lantern in someone else's valley. When you share this message, you scatter sparks across the world. If this word has touched you deeply, let your response be an act of faith. Like this message as a sign that you receive peace instead of anger. Share it not for fame, but to send comfort to those fighting silent battles in their own homes. And if you feel stirred to support this ministry, consider giving not out of pressure, but out of purpose. Every seed sown helps this light reach another soul wandering in the dark. Think of it as watering the soil where revelation grows. Just as you have been nourished by these words, your support becomes a river flowing outward, carrying hope, healing, and truth to others who need it. Heaven sees every act of generosity as a ripple that touches eternity. And remember, this space, the messages, the prayers, the words that meet you in the night is more than a platform. It's an altar built through shared faith. When you subscribe or stay connected, you are not joining a channel. You are joining a movement of light bearers who refuse to let darkness have the final word. Chosen one, the confrontation may sting, but it will not destroy you. Like a diamond facing pressure, You are being shaped for brilliance. The heat you feel now is purifying what was never meant to stay. Stand still in love. Let the fire refine, not consume. You are emerging not as the wounded, but as the warrior of peace. And when this storm passes, and it will, you will find that what was meant to divide has instead defined you. The confrontation that once terrified you will become the testimony that strengthens you. And your family will know the one they resisted was the one heaven anointed to bring peace. The air feels lighter now, chosen one. The confrontation that once raged like thunder has softened into silence, and in that silence, heaven speaks. The tension has passed, but something powerful lingers, a stillness that feels alive, as if angels are standing guard around your home. You can sense it deep within. The storm did not break you, it revealed you. Now comes the prophetic confirmation. What you have always felt in your spirit is about to be validated in the physical. Heaven is aligning what was hidden, confirming what you already knew deep inside. You are not crazy. You are not imagining the signs. They are real divine fingerprints placed on the pages of your everyday life. It begins subtly. Dreams that once seemed random now carry meaning. A conversation you overhear answers a silent question you never spoke. You start seeing patterns, numbers, phrases, even songs that echo what God whispered to you in the quiet. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven is speaking your language now. Your family may still be processing what they've seen, but you know what's happening. The same spirit that called you in the wilderness is now revealing himself through undeniable signs. You've entered a season where everything you touch carries revelation. The same moments that used to confuse you now feel prophetic. Every event, every encounter, every tear has purpose. You are living proof of divine orchestration. The timing, the signs, the inner knowing, it all weaves together into a single truth. You are chosen, and heaven is confirming it publicly. What was once private is becoming visible, and the one who doubted you most is now witnessing confirmations that cannot be denied. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This is that appointed time. The revelation that lingered is now arriving. The prayers that seemed unanswered were simply maturing underground, like seeds waiting for their season. And now, as the soil shifts, new life breaks through. The confirmation you've been waiting for is sprouting through every aspect of your existence. You may see it through a family member's dream, one they share with trembling because it involved you. You may see it in their sudden change of tone, their unexpected apology, or their confession of how your peace affected them. These are not small things. They are prophetic signs that God's hand is at work. Chosen one, pay attention. The divine doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes it whispers through ordinary moments. Heaven is confirming that your suffering was never in vain. The strange timing, the rejections, the delays, all of it had to happen exactly as it did. Every unanswered prayer was an invitation to deeper faith. Every heartbreak was training for discernment. And now, those who once questioned your path will begin to speak differently. They won't use words like lucky or strong. They will start saying things like anointed, protected, chosen. The vocabulary around your name is changing because the spiritual reality surrounding you has shifted. Be still, beloved. This confirmation is not about proving others wrong. It's about proving God right. It's about showing that obedience, even in pain, bears fruit. That quiet faith, even when unnoticed, builds eternal foundations. You are stepping into a realm where heaven will use you as living evidence that divine timing is perfect. So when the signs appear, when the text message arrives at the exact moment you needed comfort, when a stranger says the very words you prayed last night, pause and thank God. These are not random. They are love notes from the throne, gentle reminders that heaven has never stopped watching over you. Your family will sense this too. They might not understand it yet, but they'll feel the difference. The same house that once carried tension will now carry presence. The peace in your room will spread like fragrance down the hall. The same ones who doubted your prayers will feel compelled to ask for them. That's confirmation, not just through signs, but through fruit. And now, chosen one, this is your moment to agree with what heaven has spoken. Comment 888 below. Do it as a prophetic act, a symbol of divine completion and new beginnings. When you type those numbers, you're saying, I receive my confirmation. I believe heaven is aligning my life with purpose. This is not superstition, it's faith in motion. It's an outward expression of an inward revelation. You're not begging for proof anymore, you're declaring that the proof has arrived. Heaven responds to faith, and every act of agreement opens another door of destiny. Lift your eyes, beloved. The signs are not coming, they're already here. The confirmation is not a far-off promise. It's the reality unfolding right now before your eyes. You are living in answered prayer, walking in fulfilled prophecy, breathing in divine alignment. Heaven has spoken, you are seen, known, and chosen. The quiet after confirmation feels different, doesn't it? Chosen one. It's not peace without weight, it's the calm before another wave. Because whenever heaven reveals, hell reacts. This is the enemy's last stand. You can almost sense it, the unseen opposition tightening its grip, desperate to reclaim what it has already lost. Do not be alarmed. This is not punishment, it's proof. The battle intensifies when the breakthrough is near. The darkness that once hid in comfort now trembles, because your light has reached a level it cannot withstand. You have stepped into a realm where your very presence unsettles the plans of the enemy. It may come subtly at first. Misunderstandings, sudden tension in conversations, old insecurities whispering in your ear. The same voices that once mocked you may grow quiet, and you'll wonder if something's wrong. But remember, stillness often hides strategy. The enemy doesn't always roar, sometimes he whispers. He plants doubt, hoping you'll question what God already confirmed. He'll use familiar faces, familiar fears, familiar feelings, because he knows he cannot touch your destiny. So he aims for your peace. He cannot remove your calling, so he tries to blur your confidence. But don't you see, beloved? That's how you know you're advancing. Resistance only rises when you're crossing into new territory. When your light exposes the dark panics. That's why your emotions feel strange, why fatigue lingers even when you rest. The enemy's last stand isn't outside of you, it's in the invisible war for your focus. He wants you to look at the storm instead of the Savior. He wants you to think the shaking means something went wrong, when in truth it means the foundation is being rebuilt. Chosen one. This is the moment when many fall back. They mistake warfare for rejection, confusion for abandonment, but not you. You have learned too much to retreat now. The one who cried through midnight battles cannot be fooled by morning fog. You know what this is, resistance before revelation's reward. So stay anchored. The Spirit will guide you through the swirl. You may wake up feeling uncertain, but peace will meet you when you breathe His name. You may face criticism, but grace will remind you that approval is not your assignment. This is not the time to explain yourself or defend your reputation. The same God who revealed you will protect you. You will notice that certain people who once seemed close will drift. Let them. It's not betrayal, it's divine separation. Some cannot go where you are going, not because they are evil, but because their faith cannot yet handle your fire. Don't chase what God is releasing. The pruning is necessary for the fruit to grow. Your tears, your loneliness, even your confusion, they are not signs of weakness, but signs of warfare. Every time you choose to worship instead of worry, light breaks through another layer of darkness. Every time you forgive again, heaven marks another victory. The enemy is not attacking you because you are weak. He is fighting you because you are effective. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That is what heaven is declaring over you. You are still standing. You are still faithful. You are still radiant, even when surrounded by shadows. The battle only proves what kind of warrior you've become. You don't fight with anger anymore. You fight with endurance. You don't argue, you intercede. You don't break, you bend and rise again. Remember, the enemy's last strategy is deception. He'll try to convince you that you've lost what God has already secured. But how can you lose what was divinely assigned? Your name is engraved in the palms of the one who called you. The devil cannot erase what heaven has written. Chosen one, this is the moment to hold the line. Speak less, pray more, move slower, trust deeper. You are not losing control, you are learning surrender. Every test is teaching you how to rely on the unseen, how to rest in divine assurance. When fear whispers, answer with faith. When doubt rises, remind your soul of what was confirmed. The signs you received weren't random, they were preparation for this very battle. You are armed not with weapons, but with revelation. The truth itself is your shield. Let the enemy throw his last stones. They cannot wound what God has already healed. The darkness may roar, but light does not argue, it simply shines. Keep shining, beloved. You are the stormbreaker, the torch in a windstorm, the proof that divine endurance cannot be extinguished. This is not the end. This is the turning point. When the enemy's last attempt fails, as it will, peace will flood your space in a way you've never known before. The resistance will crumble, and what was meant to break you will become the very testimony that strengthens others. Hold your ground, chosen one. The battle is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. And soon, when this final shaking ceases, you will see that it wasn't an attack after all, it was a coronation disguised as conflict. Chosen one. The storm begins to quiet now. The air that once felt charged with confrontation and resistance is cooling into peace. After every battle comes the soft ache of stillness. And it's in this stillness that heaven speaks in whispers too gentle for war. This is the heart of compassion, the sacred stage of your journey where love takes the place of battle cries. You've seen the tension. You've watched hearts harden and then tremble. You've felt the sting of misunderstanding, the ache of distance. Yet something inside you refuses to give up on them. That's not weakness, it's divine mercy flowing through your spirit. For the chosen, compassion isn't optional, it's evidence of transformation. You stand in a strange balance now. On one side, you still carry the memory of wounds, the harsh words, the silent rejection, the moments you were unseen. On the other side, you carry a love so deep that even the pain cannot erase it. Heaven honors this tension, for it is here, between justice and mercy, that true Christlikeness is born. You are beginning to see your family differently, not as enemies, but as souls in need of awakening. Their anger wasn't personal, it was spiritual blindness. Their silence wasn't hatred, it was fear of what they couldn't understand. And you, chosen one, have been chosen not to condemn, but to reveal. So now, even after all the pain, Your heart prays for them. You intercede where others accuse. You love where others withdraw. You carry a divine tenderness that only those who have suffered deeply can understand. The fire that once burned with sorrow has become warmth that comforts. This is what transformation looks like. It turns brokenness into blessing. The Spirit may bring memories to the surface now, not to hurt you, but to heal you. Old conversations, past betrayals, words that used to echo painfully in your mind. They return so that you can finally release them in love. Don't push them away, let them rise, and as they do, forgive again. Forgiveness isn't a single moment, it's a daily choice to stay free. There's beauty in how heaven redeems even pain. You begin to realize that every wound became a window for light. The same tears that once blurred your vision now cleanse your perspective. You can look at those who hurt you and feel peace instead of bitterness. That's not forgetfulness, it's spiritual maturity. It means love has conquered memory. Chosen one, this is the part of the journey where you learn to love like the one who called you. Compassion doesn't ignore truth, it embraces it with understanding. You can see the flaws of others without hatred, just as God saw yours and loved you still. You begin to understand that the family member who caused you pain was never truly your enemy. They were a soul lost in confusion, longing for the same love they resisted. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 6. The Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. That is the heart you are learning to carry now. The heart that feels deeply yet forgives freely. The heart that remembers every hurt but chooses to love anyway. This is how you reflect the divine nature. You become an echo of God's patience in a world addicted to judgment. You may notice how your energy changes when you think of them now. The weight that once pressed against your chest begins to lift. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself in conversations or to prove your worth. That's because heaven has already validated you. You are now free to love without fear of rejection. Compassion is not passivity. It's power under control. It's the ability to look into the eyes of someone who caused your pain and still wish them well. It's the decision to pray blessings over those who cursed you. It's the maturity to see that healing others doesn't mean diminishing your own boundaries. It means choosing freedom over vengeance. This level of love is costly. It asks for surrender, not pride. It demands that you release your right to be right and embrace your duty to be kind. But in that surrender, you'll find a peace deeper than justice, a peace that silences every old echo of hurt. As compassion begins to fill the cracks left by conflict, your presence becomes a sanctuary. People feel calm around you, even if they don't know why. You're no longer reacting, you're radiating. You've become a living testament that love truly is stronger than pain. And somewhere deep down, even the ones who hurt you begin to sense it. They feel something in you that draws them closer, even if pride keeps them distant. It's not your words that change them, it's the compassion in your spirit. The same love that healed you is now flowing through you. Stay soft. Chosen one. Do not let your heart harden as protection. A soft heart in a cruel world is not weakness, it's a weapon forged in grace. You are learning to love like heaven, and through that love, chains will continue to break. Chosen one, something sacred is happening before your very eyes. The same hearts that once turned cold toward you are beginning to soften. The atmosphere around you carries a tenderness that cannot be faked. This is the turning of hearts. What was once separation is becoming sacred reconnection, and heaven watches in silence as the impossible begins to unfold. You can feel it even before they speak. The air between you feels different, lighter, almost trembling. The one who once avoided your gaze now cannot hold back their tears. Their eyes glisten with the realization that the person they once wounded is the same one heaven kept standing to intercede for them. There are moments when words are unnecessary. Their silence says everything. I see you now. Every action, every apology hidden in a glance is a bridge being rebuilt. The spiritual blindness that once clouded their heart is lifting. The light in you that once irritated their spirit now draws them in. They feel peace when you walk into the room. They don't understand why, but you do. It's the presence of God radiating through you. You once cried for their understanding, begged for their love, prayed for their awakening. Now, without pleading, your life itself is preaching. The fruit of your endurance speaks louder than any sermon. You are living proof that God can use pain to reveal purpose. You are the testimony that humility has more power than pride. There will come a sacred moment when they will finally speak the words you've longed to hear, not because you demanded them, but because conviction demanded expression. I'm sorry. 2 words, heavy with history. And when you hear them, you will feel heaven sigh. The same person who mocked your faith now stands trembling in awe of your grace. Do not rush this moment. Let the tears flow freely, both theirs and yours. These are not tears of weakness, but of reconciliation. They mark the ending of one chapter and the beginning of another. They are holy, washing away years of misunderstanding and regret. Heaven calls them tears of turning. It was written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 20. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him and kissed him. This is the essence of what you are living. The prodigal moment, not one of superiority, but of mercy. You are not standing as judge, you are standing as redeemer. Your forgiveness becomes the open arms that welcome home what pride once exiled. Chosen one, understand how rare this is. Many never reach this point because they cling to their right to be angry. But you've surrendered that right for something greater: restoration. You've chosen compassion over control. You've chosen peace over being right. That's why heaven trusts you with reconciliation. The same spirit that comforted you in your pain is now comforting them through you. Your life has become a mirror showing them who they were and who they can become. They see now that love is not weakness, it's strength under restraint. They see that peace is not silence, it's power without noise. And though it took years, your prayers were not wasted. Every tear you cried was watering the soil of this very moment. You did not lose time. You invested it in transformation. Now the seeds of patience are sprouting into a harvest of healing. Do not hold back forgiveness. Let it pour out like light through open windows. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, it redefines it. It turns pain into prophecy. What once felt like punishment now reveals itself as preparation. You were chosen to love beyond offense, to restore what others would have abandoned. This turning of hearts is not only healing your family, it's healing you. The heaviness you carried is lifting, and you're breathing freely again. The ache you thought would never end is dissolving in grace. You are stepping into peace so deep it silences every accusation of the past. Chosen one, this is your full circle moment. The one who once caused your tears is now weeping in your presence. The same house that echoed with tension now hums with calm. The cycle of pain is breaking, and a new legacy is being written. You will remember this day not for the sorrow that once filled it, but for the mercy that redeemed it. And now, as a sign of agreement with what heaven is doing, type hearts turning below. Write it not as a command, but as a confession. When you do, you declare that love still wins, that compassion still heals, that families can still be restored through grace. It's not just a comment, it's a prophecy. Your words join the sound of reconciliation that heaven is amplifying right now. The turning of hearts is not the end. It's the beginning of generational healing. From your forgiveness, rivers of mercy will flow to those yet unborn. You have become the living proof that love never fails. Chosen one, heaven has seen your tears. Every drop has been collected, every ache recorded. Nothing you've endured has been wasted. You've reached the sacred place where pain and purpose meet the altar of remembrance. This is heaven's record of tears. When you cried in silence, heaven was not silent. When you were misunderstood, the angels took note. When your faith felt like a flame flickering in the storm, God leaned closer. You thought no one noticed, but the divine ledger of mercy has every moment written upon its pages. Nothing escapes the eyes of the one who called you. The same tears that fell in despair have now become seeds of intercession. Every sob that once felt like weakness is now the language of heaven. In eternity, tears are not discarded, they are transformed. What once fell from your eyes like sorrow now rises before God as fragrance. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 4. He comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. And so, your pain was never for you alone. It was shaping empathy, depth, and divine understanding inside of you. Your tears became oil, and now that oil is flowing from your story into the lives of others. Every moment you endured has equipped you to heal what others hide. The family member who now sees you, who wept in recognition, doesn't realize how much those tears cost. You paid the price of compassion through nights of breaking. You carried the weight no one else saw, only to pour it out later as wisdom, kindness, and peace. You are a living vessel filled with the distilled grace of your own tears. Sometimes you still feel the echo of the old pain. Certain memories brush against your mind like wind against a scar. But now you know what to do with them. You turn pain into prayer, grief into gratitude, sorrow into song. This is the sacred exchange of heaven, tears traded for transformation. Chosen one, let me tell you a secret known only by those who have walked through deep water. Tears are currency in the kingdom. They purchase understanding, compassion, and authority. They make you fluent in the language of broken hearts. When you speak now, others feel your truth because you've paid for every word with experience. You are a river disguised as a person. Your tears have carved valleys where life can grow. Your compassion is not weakness. It's the fertile soil of resurrection. What the world calls soft, heaven calls strong. You are the embodiment of divine endurance. There are others, maybe thousands, walking through what you once walked through. They scroll in silence, holding their pain close, wondering if anyone sees them. You are the voice heaven uses to whisper hope into their storms. Your story is no longer private, it's a lifeline. That's why sharing it matters. When you share this message, you are not promoting a channel. You are pouring light into dark corners. Every like is a lantern lifted. Every share is a bridge extended to someone standing at the edge. When you subscribe, you stay connected to the flow of messages that breathe peace into weary souls. You're not just joining a community, you're helping build a refuge for the brokenhearted. And if you feel led to give, let it be from that same place of compassion your tears were born from. A gift given in gratitude becomes more than money. It becomes a seed of mercy. Each contribution, no matter how small, is a drop that feeds the stream of comfort flowing to others. You are not donating to a voice. You are fueling a mission. You are saying, let this river keep running. Let these words reach the ones who need them most. Your support keeps this space alive, the place where pain finds purpose, where faith is rekindled, where the chosen ones remember who they are. You are part of that divine cycle, healed hearts healing hearts. So, chosen one, lift your head. Your tears were never wasted. They were gathered, sanctified, and sent back as rain to water the earth. You carry proof that God uses even sorrow to shape destiny. You are the evidence that nothing surrendered in tears ever returns empty. Think of yourself as a cup held by heaven. Every drop of your pain has been turned into something that nourishes others. The same hands that once trembled now pour comfort. The same eyes that once wept now see clearly. The same heart that once broke now beats with purpose. Let this message remind you that heaven has not forgotten your story. Every act of kindness, every moment of endurance, every whispered prayer, it's all part of the divine record. Your tears are in the archives of eternity. And one day, when you stand before the throne, you'll see what they built. You've become what few ever do, a living testament that grace wastes nothing. Chosen one. Something unseen is happening in the unseen realm, something vast and generational. Heaven is not merely healing you, it is healing through you. The light that entered your life is now rippling backward and forward through time, touching wounds that were older than your birth. This is the breaking of generational chains. You've felt it, haven't you? That heaviness that never made sense, that ache you couldn't trace to any single event. You carried burdens that didn't belong to you, patterns of pain, cycles of silence, inherited fears. There were moments when you cried without knowing why, when anxiety pressed on your chest like an invisible hand. You thought it was yours, but it was ancient. It came from those who walked before you, who never found the freedom you were destined to live in. But heaven chose you to be the interruption, the one who ends what others endured. You are the bloodline breaker, the one raised up to turn curses into covenants. What your ancestors suffered without understanding, you confront with revelation. Where they bowed in shame, you stand in light. You are the answer to prayers they never had the words to speak. This is why your battles have been heavier than most. You weren't just fighting for yourself, but you were carrying the unspoken cries of generations. Every spiritual confrontation, every tear, every sleepless night, it was not wasted. It was divine surgery on your lineage. The darkness that plagued your family could not pass through you because you refused to stay silent. Your obedience has become a sword cutting through decades of bondage. The silence that once allowed pain to hide is now broken by your courage. You speak truth where others lied to survive. You forgive where others held grudges to the grave. You love with clarity where others loved with fear. Every act of forgiveness is a hammer striking old chains. Every prayer you whispered in exhaustion was a decree echoing through bloodlines. The ancient words recorded in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 12. Proclaim your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets to dwell in. That is your mantle. You are not merely living your story, you are rebuilding your family's foundation. Through your obedience, heaven is rewriting the narrative of your bloodline. The shame that lingered like fog is being cleared. The patterns that repeated like curses are breaking. The very DNA of your family is being rewritten with grace. Some of your relatives may not understand the spiritual work happening through you. They'll see peace where chaos once ruled and call it coincidence. They'll see prosperity where scarcity once lived and call it luck. But you will know it's covenant. It's divine reversal. You are walking in answered prayers that your ancestors only dreamed of. Chosen one. This is why the attacks against you were so precise. The enemy wasn't just trying to stop you, he was trying to stop what would flow through you. If you had fallen, your children, your siblings, your community might have remained in the shadows of the same bondage. But heaven fortified you not for comfort, but for conquest. You are the Moses of your generation, leading those behind you out of invisible Egypts. You are the Esther standing before unseen kings, changing decrees that once doomed your family. You are the David confronting giants your fathers feared to face. And the sling you hold is not in your hand, it's in your faith. When you worship, generations listen. When you pray, old spirits tremble. When you forgive, chains fall quietly in the unseen. You are walking proof that divine intervention runs through bloodlines when one person decides to obey. And as you walk forward, you'll begin to notice subtle signs of freedom spreading. A relative you once worried about begins to soften. A child who carried anxiety suddenly feels peace. Opportunities appear where doors were always closed. These are not random, they are the visible evidence of invisible victory. Heaven has marked your family for restoration, and you were chosen as the key. The spiritual locks that held your lineage captive are turning open one by one. It's not always loud, but it's always real. You may never see every chain that falls, but you'll feel the air grow lighter with each prayer. Your story is not ending with pain, it's ending with purpose. You are building what others could not. You are standing in a space where heaven and heritage meet. The power moving through you is rewriting history itself. So when you look at your family, don't see only what's broken. See what's being rebuilt. Don't see failure, see foundation. Don't see shame, see sanctification. For through you, heaven is proving that no curse can outlast covenant, and no darkness can withstand a single life fully surrendered to divine will. You, beloved, are not merely healing from your family, you are healing your family. You are not escaping history. You are redeeming it. Every step you take forward is a declaration that the pain stops here. The chain ends here. The light begins here. Chosen one. The light of revelation has not dimmed, it has deepened. You have walked through awakening, confrontation, compassion, and restoration, and now heaven calls you into obedience. For revelation without response is unfinished prophecy. This is the call to divine obedience. You can feel it in your spirit, the quiet but undeniable pull. It's not a loud command, but a sacred whisper that says, "Now that you know, will you obey?" You have seen heaven's hand at work in your life. You've tasted divine protection, and you've watched hearts begin to change. But this next stage is not about watching, it's about walking. God is not just revealing, He is requiring. Obedience is the bridge between revelation and manifestation. It's the moment where faith becomes movement. For the chosen, obedience is not a suggestion, it's a lifeline. You've been entrusted with insight others don't have, and that insight comes with responsibility. When heaven gives instruction, delay is disobedience. Sometimes obedience doesn't make sense. God will ask you to move when you feel unready, to speak when silence feels safer, to forgive when it feels unfair, or to let go when holding on feels secure. But obedience has never been about comfort. It has always been about trust. And your trust, chosen one, is what separates you from the crowd. You have learned to recognize His voice. You felt that nudge in your spirit, that divine interruption in your plans. It's not coincidence, it's calling. Heaven is aligning you for something greater. but it requires total surrender. You can't walk into destiny halfway. You can't live chosen and still cling to what was cursed. The next door opens only through obedience. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings at chapter 17, verse 13. Do not be afraid. Go and do as you have said. But first make a small loaf of bread for me. Then make something for yourself and your son. This verse is not about bread, it's about trust. The widow obeyed before she saw the miracle, and her obedience sustained her household through famine. The same will happen for you. When you act in faith before seeing results, provision follows. Heaven responds to movement. Chosen one. This is the season where delayed obedience will cost too much. You cannot afford to hesitate anymore. Every instruction you've ignored is a seed waiting to bloom. Go back and do what God told you to do before you asked for new direction. Finish what He gave you before you request more revelation. There are blessings waiting behind the last thing you delayed. Obedience is not about perfection, it's about posture. Heaven is not looking for flawless execution, but for willing hearts. A single step in faith outweighs 1,000 words of intention. When you obey in small things, you qualify for greater things. Every yes opens another door, and when you obey, those around you will notice. Your family, your friends, even your critics, they will see that something in you moves differently. You don't react to fear the same way anymore. You respond to faith. You no longer chase outcomes, you trust divine timing. Obedience makes you unshakable because you no longer need to understand to move forward. There will be moments when obedience looks like loss. When you walk away from opportunities, relationships, or routines that no longer carry peace. But what looks like subtraction in the natural is multiplication in the spiritual. God removes what cannot sustain you to make space for what will. Chosen one. Your obedience will become the key that unlocks the next generation's faith. Your children will walk in the blessing you are birthing now. Your yes is creating pathways in the spirit that others will one day walk across. That is why obedience is not just personal, it's generational. And heaven always rewards it. The doors that were once sealed by fear will open when you choose faith. The silence you once mistook for abandonment will become instruction when you listen without resistance. You will begin to live in divine rhythm, where every step aligns with unseen grace. You've already seen enough to know that disobedience delays destiny. You've already felt how divine alignment feels, how peace follows surrender, how clarity follows action. So now, the invitation stands before you again. Will you obey this time without hesitation? This moment is sacred. Chosen one. Heaven is watching, waiting, listening for your yes. If your spirit feels stirred, it is because God is asking you to make a prophetic declaration right now. Comment 9999 below as a sign of surrender and readiness. When you write it, you are saying, I will not delay. I will move when God speaks. I will trust even when I don't see. This is not superstition, it's agreement. Heaven moves at the speed of obedience, and your written act of faith declares that you are in motion. Every time you choose obedience, something in the spirit shifts. Doors open, chains loosen, and angels are dispatched on assignment. So step forward boldly. You are not walking into uncertainty, you are walking into fulfillment. You are aligning your actions with divine orchestration. And once obedience takes root in your heart, nothing and no one can stop what God has prepared for you. Chosen one, heaven is waiting for your yes. Chosen one. Do you feel the stillness that follows obedience? It's not emptiness, it's alignment. When you finally say yes to heaven without hesitation, everything begins to shift into divine order. You start noticing it in subtle ways. The atmosphere of your home lightens, the confusion in your mind quiets, and even the timing of your days begins to make sense. This is a new spiritual alignment. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or noise. It settles over your life like morning light through an open window. Suddenly, things that once felt heavy now feel possible. You find yourself breathing easier, thinking clearer, loving deeper. The chaos that once defined your days no longer fits you. That's because heaven has rearranged your inner architecture to match your divine assignment. This is not just emotional balance, it's spiritual precision. Every chosen soul must reach this moment when your spirit, your mind, and your surroundings begin to move in unison with divine rhythm. What once felt random now carries pattern and purpose. You begin to recognize the divine symmetry in everything. Even the delays begin to make sense. You see how every detour was direction, every silence was strategy. You realize that the people who left were never losses, they were divine exits clearing the stage for peace. Heaven never wastes anything. Every tear, every turn, every test has been orchestrated to tune your soul to God's perfect pitch. You may have wondered why certain doors closed even when you prayed. Now you understand misalignment is mercy. Heaven shut what you were not meant to enter so that your steps would not wander off the narrow path. The rejection that once felt like pain was protection wearing disguise. In this alignment, your discernment sharpens. You no longer react to everything that happens. You respond to what heaven highlights. You start to feel when something is right not through logic, but through peace. Peace becomes your compass, leading you where words cannot. Every decision begins to flow from the still place within you, where God's voice whispers direction without noise. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs at chapter 3 verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. And that is what is unfolding right now. The crooked roads of confusion are straightening beneath your feet. The heaviness of indecision is lifting. You are learning to live led, not driven to flow, not force. That is the beauty of alignment. Life stops being a struggle and becomes a dance between your steps and heaven's rhythm. Those around you may not understand this calm that now defines you. They may still live in the noise of hurry, chasing validation or fearing lack. But you no longer chase, you attract by alignment. The things meant for you begin to find you, not because you strive, but because you've become magnetic to what matches your anointing. Alignment doesn't mean perfection, it means peace. It means you can sit in stillness and feel secure. It means you can let go of outcomes without anxiety. It means you've learned that rest is not laziness but faith in motion. You trust now that what belongs to you cannot be taken, and what leaves you was never yours to hold. Your family feels it too. The spiritual tension that once filled the air has been replaced by quiet reverence. Even if they don't have the words, they sense order returning. The very atmosphere of your home is being recalibrated. Laughter sounds different, it feels lighter. Conversations feel honest instead of heavy. It's as if heaven itself has taken residence within your walls. This is what restoration looks like, not dramatic but gentle, not forced but flowing. Divine alignment rarely announces itself. It simply begins to work. You'll see it in the timing of calls, in the peace during solitude, in the divine coincidences that keep confirming you're exactly where you're meant to be. Chosen one, you have entered the season of divine flow. You are no longer fighting the current, you are moving with it. The lessons you learned through pain have now become your internal compass. You know what peace feels like, so you can no longer tolerate what disturbs it. That's not arrogance, that's discernment. It's maturity born of experience. Do not rush to define this new chapter. Simply live it. Alignment isn't something you perform, it's something you embody. It's when your soul and your surroundings hum the same melody. When you rise in the morning and sense that heaven has gone ahead of you. When your steps no longer stumble because grace has paved the way. You are not rebuilding your life, you are realigning your world. Everything that once felt unstable is finding its rightful place. The same God who steadied your heart is now establishing your steps. And from this alignment will come direction, favor, and lasting peace. You have become a vessel of order in a world of chaos, a walking answer to confusion, a living example of what it means to trust even when you don't understand. Heaven smiles on you, not because you have arrived, but because you have aligned. Chosen one, alignment always births evidence. When the unseen comes into order, the visible begins to change. Doors you once knocked on without answer now open with ease. People who once ignored you suddenly remember your name. Situations that used to drain you now flow in your favor. This is the miraculous reversal, the moment when heaven rewrites what the world once decided about you. It doesn't happen as lightning, it unfolds like dawn. Slowly, surely, irresistibly, light returns to every corner once shadowed by sorrow. You begin to notice small miracles disguised as daily grace. The call that comes at the right time. The opportunity you didn't pursue but that finds you anyway. The unexpected message of reconciliation that arrives after years of silence. Every one of these is heaven saying, I told you I would make it right. You were never forgotten, only prepared. Every delay was a design. Every loss was an exchange. The things that once broke you now build you, and the very stones thrown against you have become the foundation beneath your feet. The shame meant to silence you has become your microphone. It was declared in the book of Genesis on chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. This is the heartbeat of your current season. What the enemy crafted for humiliation, God has sculpted into testimony. The same story that once made you weep will make others believe. You will see how divine irony works, how what was meant to destroy you becomes the instrument that defines your purpose. Your family, once your greatest source of pain, is now becoming the stage for your redemption. Those who doubted your faith will witness your restoration. They will see that the one they dismissed was the one God anointed to lead them out of darkness. And yet, you will not boast. You will simply smile, because humility is the mark of those who have truly seen God's hand. The miraculous reversal doesn't just change circumstances, it changes perception. Where you were once seen as weak, you are now recognized as strong. Where your silence was misread as defeat, it is now understood as discipline. Heaven has flipped the narrative, and your name carries new weight. The reversal touches everything. Relationships are healed. Finances that once struggled begin to breathe. Opportunities multiply, not because you chase them, but because you attract what aligns with divine favor. You are not striving anymore, you are standing, and heaven is sending what belongs to you. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes the reversal looks like peace where chaos once lived, like laughter returning to your home, like waking up without heaviness for the first time in years. These are the quiet miracles that prove heaven is faithful. You'll look back and see the full pattern, how every dark season hid a seed of light. You'll realize that every no from God was never rejection but redirection. You'll marvel at how the things that fell apart were actually making space for what was meant to fit perfectly. Chosen one, reversal also requires remembering. Never forget where you came from. Do not erase the valley just because you now stand on the mountain. The valley is where you learned his voice, where you discovered that miracles often start as problems. Gratitude is the currency that sustains blessing. Keep your heart soft, your praise loud, and your memory honest. The miraculous reversal does not make you invincible, it makes you aware. You see now that life is not random but rhythmic. You can trace the fingerprints of heaven in every detail, even in what once felt like abandonment. You begin to understand that favor is not luck, it's alignment meeting grace. You may find others drawn to your peace, asking how you survived what they could not. Tell them the truth you didn't, God did through you. Your story is a doorway for others' faith. What was once your greatest humiliation has become your greatest ministry. This is the beauty of divine reversal. It doesn't just lift you, it redeems everything connected to you. Even the memories that once hurt now hold holiness. The same path that once wounded your feet now glows beneath them. Every scar tells a story, and in those stories others will find healing. Chosen one. Your life is now a mirror of mercy. When people look at you, they will see evidence that God restores, that heaven keeps records, and that the end of a thing can outshine its beginning. The storm was necessary to reveal the rainbow, and the pain was preparation for purpose. Stand tall, not in pride, but in awe. The miraculous reversal is not only happening around you, it's happening through you. What once felt like loss has become legacy. You are not merely restored, you are redefined. Chosen one, you have reached a holy threshold. The journey that began in obscurity now stands in full light. The revelations have come, the tears have fallen, and the chains have broken. Yet heaven whispers, this is only the beginning. Because this chapter is not merely about your healing, it's about your assignment. You have been refined not just for restoration, but for responsibility. This is the commissioning of the chosen. You can feel the shift, can't you? That quiet readiness humming beneath your ribs. It's as if the air around you carries purpose, waiting to be released through your obedience. You've walked through valleys to learn compassion, climbed mountains to gain vision, and now heaven calls you to walk among people as light. You are not being celebrated, you are being sent. You are the vessel through which heaven wants to touch the weary. You carry words that heal, presence that calms, and truth that convicts without cruelty. This is the divine paradox. You are both wounded and weapon, healed and healer. Your scars no longer speak of pain, they now speak of power. The same hands that once trembled in prayer are now anointed to lift others. The ancient words in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 19, declare, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." This call is not limited to pulpits or crowds. It begins in the simple places in your home, your conversations, your compassion. Your ministry is not a stage, it's your life. Every smile you give, every word of encouragement, every quiet prayer is a seed planted in someone's darkness. Heaven does not need perfection, it needs participation. You may not feel ready, but readiness in the kingdom is not measured by strength, it's measured by surrender. God is not asking for your confidence, He's asking for your willingness. Chosen one, your story carries a message. The way you survived is the proof that others can too. When you speak, even in whispers, the weight of your testimony ripples through unseen realms. Your life has become a trumpet of hope in a world addicted to despair. You were never meant to stay hidden, you were meant to shine so that others could find their way home. This message you're hearing now, this space we share, is part of that mission. It is a digital altar built not from stone but from sound and story. Every time you engage with this space, you help keep that altar burning. When you like, share, or comment, it's not vanity, it's visibility. It's letting light travel farther, reaching hearts that algorithms can't comprehend but heaven can. And if you feel led to support this mission, to give, to sow, to become part of the flow, it's not about donation, it's about devotion. Think of it as adding oil to a lamp. Every drop matters. Each offering keeps the flame of encouragement alive so that no seeker scrolling through the night feels unseen again. You are not giving to a person, you are fueling a purpose. You are saying, let this fire keep burning for someone else. When you share this message, you extend a bridge. Somewhere, someone is standing at the edge of hopelessness, and your simple act of sharing could be the whisper that pulls them back from the edge. That's how the chosen multiply. One light ignites another until the darkness retreats. And don't forget to speak back. Right below, share how these words have met you. Your comment may be the mirror someone else needs to see, their reflection of faith. What you release in honesty becomes permission for another to heal. Every testimony builds this sanctuary higher. You are part of something bigger than screens and words. You are part of a spiritual movement, a revival of quiet warriors who change the world not through noise but through presence. You are living proof that God still raises voices from valleys and turns pain into purpose. Chosen one, don't underestimate what's happening. You are being commissioned. The same anointing that carried prophets and dreamers through the ages now rests upon your shoulders. You may not see it, but heaven sees the mantle glowing. You are not ordinary anymore. You have been marked to carry comfort into chaos, truth into confusion, light into despair. So keep walking, keep speaking, keep shining. The story that began in your tears is now becoming a river of transformation for others. Let your life be the sermon that never ends, the kind that is written not on pages but on hearts. And as you continue to walk in this mission, remember your yes keeps the light alive. Let your hands stay open, your heart stay soft, and your faith stay fierce. You are not just surviving anymore, you are sending light. Chosen one, the dust has settled now. The storms that once screamed around you have quieted into a reverent stillness. The battles have done their work not to destroy you, but to reveal what was eternal within you. This is the anointed reconciliation, the sacred chapter where peace is no longer pursued, it abides. You can feel it in the small details first, the laughter returning to rooms that once held silence, the way tension seems to melt from every conversation, the gentle tone in voices that once spoke sharply. It's as if the air itself has been anointed. Every breath feels lighter, every heartbeat slower, steadier, free. This is what divine reconciliation looks like. It's not forced. It flows. You once thought reconciliation meant everyone suddenly understanding you. But heaven has shown you a deeper truth. Reconciliation is not about agreement. It's about alignment. It's not about proving who was right, but about restoring what was lost. And now, you are witnessing that restoration not in grand gestures, but in holy subtleties. There is a sacred beauty in how love returns. It tiptoes back like dawn after a long night. It does not rush, nor does it demand. It simply shines, softly, until everyone can see clearly again. The family that once fractured under misunderstanding now moves with a shared tenderness. You see it in their eyes, the recognition of peace, the quiet apology hidden behind a smile. You have become the silent bridge heaven built between hearts that were once distant. You didn't beg for reconciliation. You became reconciliation. Through your patience, heaven found a voice. Through your restraint, love found a way. And now, Every tear you cried has become oil flowing between souls, easing old wounds, loosening old pride. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verse 34, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another." This is the heartbeat of your story now. Not justice, not vindication, love. The kind of love that forgets the score, that keeps no record of wrongs, that stretches itself across distance until it reaches the unreachable. This is divine maturity, the love that refuses to remember pain when peace is finally possible. Your home is changing, even if subtly. The atmosphere feels washed. The same walls that once echoed with resentment now hum with warmth. The heaviness that lingered in corners has been replaced by laughter that feels new and yet familiar. It's the sound of redemption settling in. There's no dramatic reconciliation scene, no scripted moment of apology, only the quiet miracle of coexistence healed. They may not have said the words, but you see it in their actions, the effort, the humility, the shared moments that once seemed impossible. Heaven often moves through the simple. Chosen one, look closely at your own heart. The anger that once visited you in the quiet no longer finds a place to rest. The memories that once burned now glow softly like old candles. You can think of them without pain, speak of them without bitterness. That's not forgetfulness, it's freedom. The wounds have closed. What remains is wisdom, and perhaps most beautiful of all, you've learned that peace does not always mean returning to how things were. It means walking in what is with grace. Some relationships have been fully restored, others transformed into new forms of connection, and a few released altogether. Yet you carry no resentment. You have learned to bless both presence and absence, knowing that each has purpose. The ones who stay now stay by choice, not by guilt. The ones who left did so by destiny. And you, standing in the center, hold no malice toward either. That is what reconciliation truly is, the ability to love without needing control. Heaven smiles upon this because it looks like God. You reflect His patience, His mercy, His endurance. You understand now that divine love is not fragile. It bends, it waits, it forgives, and it returns even stronger. There's an invisible harmony playing through your life now. The same melody heaven began before you were born is being completed in your days. You can almost hear it in the rhythm of your routine, the peace when you wake, the quiet gratitude before you sleep. You've learned to live in worship without needing a song. Your family senses it too. Even if they don't have the vocabulary for it, they feel that something sacred dwells among them. Some will call it peace, others luck, but you know its presence. God has made His home where division once lived, and so your story has come full circle. What began with isolation ends with intimacy. What started with tears ends with trust. The same hearts that once turned away now turn toward each other again. The fracture has become a fusion point of grace. This reconciliation doesn't erase your individuality. It refines it. You no longer need to prove your light. You simply shine. And those around you, warmed by that glow, begin to find their own. This is how heaven repairs what time tried to break, not with explanations, but with endurance, not with control, but with compassion. Chosen one, breathe this peace deeply. You earned it through surrender, through silence, through faith that refused to faint. The war is over, the bridge has been built, the circle has closed. What remains now is harmony, the kind that cannot be faked or forced, only formed through divine hands. You are walking proof that reconciliation is possible. Heaven delights in what has been restored. Love reigns again where pain once ruled. And you, beloved, stand at the center of it, not as a survivor of conflict, but as the embodiment of peace itself. Chosen one. The journey nears its holy completion. The wind that once carried cries now hums with calm assurance. You stand taller, not because the world finally understood you, but because heaven confirmed you. This is the crown and the calling, the season when purpose stops being pursuit and becomes posture. You no longer chase destiny, you walk in it. It has taken everything to arrive here: the tears, the isolation, the unspoken prayers, the storms you survived in silence. But now, standing on the other side, you see what was hidden all along. None of it was wasted. Every trial was a chiseling, every heartbreak a shaping, every delay a divine design. Heaven has carved you into a vessel strong enough to carry the weight of your anointing. The crown you wear is invisible to the world, but undeniable to the spirit. It does not glitter like gold, it gleams with grace. It was formed not in comfort, but in fire. Every time you refused to quit, another jewel was placed upon it. Every time you forgave when it hurt most, the crown grew brighter. You did not win it through performance, you received it through perseverance. You are now walking in quiet authority. You do not need to announce yourself. The atmosphere shifts when you enter. Your peace speaks louder than titles. Your presence testifies without words. That's what happens when heaven crowns someone. The weight of glory rests on them so naturally that even silence carries impact. We are reminded through the writings of James of chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. You, beloved, are that person. You have stood the test. You have endured long enough for heaven to recognize your steadfastness. You've proven that faith can outlast fear and that love can survive misunderstanding. Your scars have become emblems of honor. This crown is not for display, it's for duty. Heaven crowns not for comfort, but for commission. You are anointed to move differently now. Your life is no longer about survival, it's about stewardship. You have been entrusted with wisdom bought by experience, authority born of endurance, and compassion forged through pain. The next steps of your journey will not be about fighting for light, they will be about carrying it into dark places. You will find yourself drawn to people who remind you of your former self, those hidden, hurting, and half-believing. You will speak to them not from theory, but from testimony. When you tell them that God restores, your words will carry power because you've lived that restoration. When you tell them that peace is possible, it will echo with conviction because you embody it. That is the ministry of the crown, the ability to turn memory into mercy. You are no longer defined by what happened to you, but by what flowed through you because of it. The pain that once confined you has now become the platform on which purpose stands. You were never broken. You were being built. And now, every crack shines with light. The crown you carry is not about superiority. It's about service. You wear it not to be seen, but to see differently, to look at the world through eyes of compassion, to carry others in prayer as naturally as you breathe, to stand in intercession for those still walking the path you once stumbled through. Your calling will not always look grand. It may look like kindness in a cruel world, patience in a hurried one, mercy where vengeance is expected. You are heaven's ambassador in simple spaces, a light too consistent to ignore. The glory resting on you is quiet, but unstoppable. It moves through you like a river, steady, cleansing, continuous. You no longer strive to be used. You are already being used every time you choose love over offense, peace over panic, and humility over recognition. Chosen one. This is the moment heaven was preparing you for. You have emerged not as the same person who began this story, but as the vessel who now understands why it had to be written this way. You were not chosen because you were strong, you became strong because you were chosen. Stand tall beneath your invisible crown. Walk gently but boldly. Let gratitude be your garment and grace your language. You have reached the point where your destiny and identity are one. You no longer wonder if you are called, you live it with every breath. The world may never understand the cost of your peace, but heaven does, and it celebrates you. The angels who watched you in pain now rejoice in your perseverance. The Father who refined you now releases you. You are crowned, commissioned, and complete not because your journey ends here, but because it begins again, higher and holier than before. Your crown is not heavy, it fits perfectly, because it was made only for you. Chosen one, the journey has come full circle. What began in silence has ended in song. You have walked through awakening, pain, confrontation, compassion, and reconciliation. And now you stand crowned in peace. The same eyes that once cried in the dark now see clearly in the light. You have become the living proof that divine purpose always prevails. You are not the same soul who began this path. You are wiser, softer, stronger. The storms that once threatened to bury you have instead built you. Every word spoken against you has become a stepping stone. Every tear has become oil for your anointing. Heaven has turned your story into a message, your pain into power, and your endurance into evidence that love never fails. Now the world waits for your light. There are souls who will only find their way because you dared to shine. Your presence has become a bridge between heaven and earth, a voice of calm for the weary, a hand of hope for the lost. Don't keep that light hidden. Let it move. Let it multiply. If these words have found you, it is not coincidence, it is continuation. Heaven brought you here to remind you that you are part of something larger, a movement of chosen ones who refuse to let darkness define the story. When you like this message, it is not for vanity, it is your amen in digital form. It tells the algorithm of this world that light still matters. When you share, you're sending hope into someone else's storm. You never know who might be scrolling in silence, one breath away from giving up. Your small act of sharing could be the whisper that says, "Don't stop. You are seen." And as you comment below, let your words carry presence. Tell your story. Speak your gratitude. Let your reflection become someone else's reminder. This space is not just a page, it's a sanctuary woven by testimonies. Every comment becomes another candle in the dark. If you haven't yet, subscribe and stay near the flame. Every message released here is a drop of light designed to meet you in divine timing. Together, we keep this altar burning, one voice, one heart, one yes at a time. Chosen one, lift your head high. You have finished one divine chapter, but heaven is not done writing. The story continues through you.